Hello everyone, this is Chase Pounds. In today's topic of discussion, we're going to be it'll be on the infamous seafaring law of women and children first. Now, what brought me to this subject? It just quickly popped in my mind. Was after a poll on YouTube. It was a YouTuber by the name of she goes by the name of Jay Litz, and she had an interesting poll. She be posting different topics, interesting topics of different polls. It gets people discussing it and on debates on which side they are. And I even put this in my comment chat, even commenting on her poll. It was on boat sinking. Should women be saved first, or children should be saved first? And I immediately responded, and I even discussed this poll with my parents, and they believe that including me myself, believe that the children should be saved first before the women. And but what got me thinking is, and I kind of knew this probably even before this poll, is that you're often familiar with women and children first as being the traditional law of the law of the sea, along with, I guess, the captain going down the ship. But I really thought, but it's really on the sinking. There's only two shipwrecks that I know of: the sinking of the Titanic on April the 14th of 1912, that operate by the system Women and Children First. And then some other shipwreck, I forget the name of it. It was from 1852, I think, also operated by the system Women and Children First. But all the other shipwrecks that I know of, such as the Lusitania and the Andrea Dover, or another ship with Andrea Dover, some other great shipwrecks that come to mind, they didn't operate, for my knowledge, they didn't mostly operate by the system Women and Children First. And I guess because the circumstances, the scenario is that with the Lusitania, it sank faster than the Titanic because it was hit by two torpedoes, which made it sink faster. And I think it only stayed afloat for about 15 minutes. And I guess it was just a mad dash, a rush trying to get everybody on the boat. So I guess there was no particular order or care about women and children first. I'm not sure. And of course, not all the children were saved, nor were all the women saved compared to the Titanic, which most of the women and children on the Titanic were mostly also based on class based as well, because more of the first and second class got saved than all the third class women and children didn't get saved. And with the Lusitania was kind of the opposite. More of the rich elite weren't saved. Well, I guess ordinary people were probably spared. I'm not sure the exact order of the class ratio, but but it's mostly, as I said before, it's mostly those two shipwrecks that I've heard of where women and children only been saved. Really, with the Titanic, I think the order of women and children first was often the orders were misunderstood, because I think the captain wanted was that, I guess, put the women and children in the boat first, and then if there's some room left, let some of the men go. And certain officers, I guess, mistook the order of women and children women and children first as women and children only. And I think this was the case with the second officer. If you're a Titanic buff, you may know this officer, Officer Charles Lightoller, who was in charge of launching and ordering the passengers in the boats. He went by a policy of women and children only, while Officer Murdoch, who was on the port, who was on the Officer Lightoller was on the starboard side, and Officer Murdoch was on the port side, which again, if you're not a shipwreck or ship or buff or ship historian Titanic buffer historian, you know that the port side would be the would be the would be the left side of the ship, and the starboard side would be the right. So really, Officer Lightoller was on the left side of the ship, and the Murdoch was on the right side. And Murdoch is ultimately considered a hero because he saved more people on his lifeboats, right? Not just women and children, but he also saved several men as well, and that made up for the mostly men that were saved from the Titanic disaster was due to Officer Murdoch's bravery. So that's one thing that was on my mind about women, children first. And you also think about it, and I kind of knew this as well, but some may not be amateur historians may not know this, that at one point in time, women weren't always, especially in the early ages of sea traveling, especially with merchant ships and whaling ships, I guess, women were often seen as people who were part of this, who were often sea travelers. They weren't people that, I guess, men at the time, sailors didn't think that women, there was a place for women to begin with to be on ships, because it kind of goes back to age-old superstition of women are banned from being at sea because it's just bad luck, and based on some of the documentaries I listened to, History's Mysteries, on documentary on superstitions, referenced that women may whistle up a storm, because it goes back to another superstition of whistling at sea, because it's also thought to be bad luck to whistle at sea based on the superstitions. But these are old, I guess, old age superstitions. I don't think they're really may not be as relevant today as back then. And then I'm also not sure what the current shipwreck, going back to the women, children first, is that 2012 shipwreck. I forget if there was some women and children being saved first. I forget. I never took time to research. It's just the topic that came on my mind. This is another. Feel free to comment on this subject. This is another video by Chase Pounds. Thank you. Stay tuned for my next video.